Srishti Ramesh, and welcome to Voyager 360. Today, we're with Kate Morgan, Eastern alumni and freelance writer. Hi, Kate. How are you?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me.
So, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. I graduated from Eastern High School in 2008, and I fell in love with journalism here in Mr. Bound's classroom. I went on to get a degree in journalism from a school in New York City, where I had awesome professors who knew what they were doing and taught me the ropes and taught me, old school journalism. And then I ended up working at a hyperlocal newspaper. Then I worked at a regional magazine, discovered I really liked magazine writing, and now I am a full-time freelancer. And so I write for places like Woman's Day and Popular Science and the Washington Post and Slate, and the list goes on.
So, what do you think is the most rewarding part of your job right now?
I get to tell stories in a way that I really, really love. I get to have an idea or read an interesting tidbit or meet a really fascinating person. And assuming that I can sell an editor on the fact that it's a great idea and we should do a story about it, I can dive deep and I can, really craft something beautiful. I have a feature in the summer issue of Popular Science, and it's about buffalo, bison. And I went to Montana. They flew me out to Montana in January, and I had Yellowstone Park to myself, and it was just me and this awesome wildlife biologist roaming around Yellowstone looking at animals. And then I got to write a really nuanced piece that I'm really proud of. And what I find most rewarding is that my job gives me the flexibility and the freedom to do something like that, and also make a living. And I don't know how you could not love that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, obviously, being freelance is, different from what most people do, and probably more difficult. So,
Though we're growing in numbers. Freelancing's the future.
So how, have you, overcome rejection or your struggles?
Oh, yeah. So rejection that's a great question. So you have to be willing to get rejected to be a journalist. People are gonna say no. And there's some people say for every yes you have to get 20 no's first, right? So you have to be real comfortable with rejection. I belong to a Facebook group of writers who are really supportive and are all rejects, call ourselves rejects. We celebrate our rejections because when you get rejected, it means you had an idea and you went for it and you submitted. And so there's nothing wrong and no shame in somebody saying, I don't think it's right for us. Because either you say, well, you're wrong and I'm gonna send it to this person instead, or you tweak it, you make it right, you make it better, and you end up placing it somewhere else. I've had stories that I have pitched to probably a dozen, maybe more editors, stories that I've had, in the works for months, even a year before they actually landed somewhere. It stings. I don't know if it ever stops stinging when somebody's like, not for us. But it gets easier. You learn to, sort of expect the rejection, and you learn to see it as just part of the business. It's not you that's being rejected, and then there's no reason you don't just get up and try again.
So what advice do you have for students or people who want to pursue journalism or freelance?
Yeah, so my best advice is just do it. Just your life is full of things that you can write about, and ideas and interesting perspectives and a voice that we're not already hearing, and there's no reason that you've got to wait. People get it in their heads that, okay, I'll be a journalist once I have a degree in journalism, or I'll be a journalist once I get hired at this publication or that publication, and that's just, you just don't have to wait for any of that. You can be, you are a journalist right now if you want to be. If you have a great idea and a great story, if there's something that you've written about for the Voyager that you're like, man, that was a great story and a good idea, and I feel like if I could just do a couple more interviews on that, I could see that in a newspaper or in a magazine. Do it. Just do it. Gather that up, write it into a pitch, find an editor's email at, the Philadelphia Inquirer and send it off. Say, hey, you don't have to tell anybody you're a student. You don't have to tell anybody you don't have a degree in journalism, because they don't care as long as your idea is solid. And so that's it. That's the advice, is if you want to do this, go for it, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not ready, or that you don't know what you're doing, or that it's not a good idea. And if they do, decide that they're wrong and do it anyway.
Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
No problem. This was Kate Morgan, and I'm Srishti Ramesh. Thank you for watching.